Hey guys, Jimmy aka Palette of the Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to that Sigmarite Mausoleum painting video that I've kind of promised for ages. This is only going to be part 1 of 2. So this is going to be focusing mainly on the first sprue that we got a few issues back. But before we jump into anything, all I want to say is thank you very much for all your support so far. If you like these videos, please hit the like button, hit subscribe, drop a comment down below. It's always greatly appreciated and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. But I suppose we should just jump into painting these buildings up. So to start off with, as you can see, I've got the buildings actually painted up. They're painted using Wilko's light grey primer, which is a spray paint. It's pretty cheap, it's only about a £5, so it's worth picking up and getting hold of. And as you can see, what I'm doing here is I'm painting certain little sections of the building to separate all that brickwork up. And what I'm using here is Storm Vermin Fur to give it a different shade of grey. And then what I'm doing is adding some Mechanica Standard Grey as well to other ones. So there's different shades for kind of different stone types and different cuts of stone and everything like that. If you make a mistake, that light grey is pretty damn good because it's very close to the Administratum Grey, so it's worth picking up with that and neatening it up with that. And you can also use things like Dawnstone as well if you wanted to. As you can see, what I'm doing here is painting up that metal grate. So there's no shades on it so far. So this metal grate I'm using Ironbreaker, gives it a really nice darker metallic look. It can be a little bit tough to kind of get it to stick to the spray painted bits, but you can do it really quite well. As you can see, what I'm doing here is I'm using Corn Red for the roof, so completely different. So gonna look a little bit more like a red gothic roof and everything like that. So, and it gives a good way of getting some really good looks out of these kind of paint colours. Then once you've got all your different sections of the model painted up, slap over your Nuln Oil. You can use it as light as you like, you can use it as liberally as you like. I was quite liberal. I've gone through literally half a pot of Nuln Oil just on the majority of what I've been painting recently. And then all I'm doing is I'm dry brushing over Administratum Grey. As you can see, I've actually missed a step. I didn't record it for some reason. I used Typhus Corrosion on parts of the bars. This will give it a nice rusted look when you paint over it later on. And then what I'm doing is I'm dry brushing over Corn Red back over that roof as well, and stippling it on there, but not going too heavy handed with it. I don't want to lose that darkness that's there and that grimy kind of look that the roof has gained from the Nuln Oil. So going over very finely, stippling over, and just a very light dry, very kind of lighter dry brush works really well. Gives it a really nice dark kind of cold grimy roof. You can do this with blues as well, so you can do it with Cantor Blue. Use a Nuln Oil and then go back over it and it will look really cool. Moving back onto them rusted gates, all I'm doing is I'm using some Riser Rust, which is a dry brush paint, very finely, and just going straight over that Typhus, the areas where the Typhus Corrosion is. Gives it a really nice rusted look, which is pretty cool and definitely worth doing for a lot of metallic work. And then on this building you've got loads of little flowers and stuff like that creeping up the two sides to it. So all I'm doing is I'm painting the leaves up first. So starting off with Warflesh, or Warflesh should I say, and this gives it a really quite nice darker green look. And just go completely over all the leaves. And then if you want to have the dark leaves just stay in a darker colour, just go over it with good old Beal Tan Green, and this will darken it up. It's a shade paint, so it will go really quite well. If you wanted to, you can use contrast paint though if you've got them to hand. And what I'm also doing is I've done a few lines down certain edges of the building to show kind of like a mossy kind of horrible griminess to over-weathered buildings. Then back onto the actual flowers themselves, using corn red, just go over them with a nice liberal layer. It looks really good, it works quite well, and it'll do the flowers really quite well, make them look like a dark red rose, especially when you add a shade like Reichland Flesh shade into it, or you can use just Wazdaka red to highlight the edges of the flowers. And that is pretty much it. So much shorter version of the videos as per normal. This is how it looks in comparison though. I think it's turned out pretty well. It's turned out exactly kind of how I wanted it. There are a few things that I probably would do differently if I did a different one, but yeah, who knows. But yeah, it looks really good. I think it looks pretty decent and it works quite well. So yeah, crack on with it. As I say, much shorter video than normal. There will be a second part to this with one of the base plates and one of the walls, which will show pretty much very similar how I've done those, but with some slightly different techniques and different ways of painting it and different ways of getting it to look right. Yeah, so not bad at all. But as I say, as I said at the start of the video, if you like these videos, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment down below. If you want to pick up some minis from the Games Workshop ranges or any other model range, there's an affiliate link in the links down below for Goblin Gaming. So if you're in the UK, you can order from them. On majority of their stuff, it is between 10 to 20% off RRP. If you use that link and you buy anything, it will give me a little bit of cash, so it'll support the channel. If you want to, you don't have to. It's entirely up to you if you want to do that or not. And there are other links to like social media and everything like that down below. But yeah, having said that, guys, thank you very much for watching. Part 2 should be hopefully within the next day or two, Sunday at the hopefully the latest. And yeah, and you'll see the rest of the bits and pieces and how they've turned out. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye now.